we're going to combine this model. So we're going to change this back to polygons. We're going to mesh, combine, and it sets the pivot back here. So we're going to want to move the model so it sits on the grid. And that's it. We're now going to start in-game preparations. So I'm going to select this model. I go edit, delete all by type, history, edit, delete all by type, non-deformer, history. So we no longer need the history, we're not bothered about it. And we're going to kill this main underscore viz. So this is the main visible part. I'm going to create another cube. And I'm going to do this from the top view. So we're going to put a cube here. That covers the model, like so. So we're just going to put this down. So you don't need to cover the model 100%, but it does need to be centered, the grid. Yeah. We're going to go in the side view, whilst we've still got that cube selected. And we're going to press insert on the keyboard, which will change the move icon to this with a yellow square with a little yellow dot. This is what's called the pivot point. We're going to move this down to the very bottom. So you can hold X and drag it down and it'll lock it to the grid. Now we're going to press insert again. And that's all we need to do. So we're going to change polycube to, I'm just going to call this weight underscore tut. Okay. Now we need to reference the bottom arms and also a top reference. So we're going to go to create empty group. And we're going to vertex snap, which is keep hold of V, drag left to the center of that pin. We're just going to slide it up. Zoom into the pin, hold V, snap it to the center. And we do not move the left and right position. We want that to stay in the center. Now we're going to create another empty group. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to vertex snap, but to the top pin. So we don't have a center mark because we deleted the faces, but you can just vertex snap to the edge ones. So this is the top locator, which if we go to Window, Outliner, end up with this window over here, which I'll just leave here. So what we end up with the main visible model. We have the weight tutorial, which is the name of the main collision, and we have these two nulls. So this is null 1, I'm going to call bottom hitch, and null 2 I'm going to rename top underscore ref, top reference point. Now we're going to take the main viz and we're going to use the middle mouse button on the scroll wheel and drag it inside of the weight tutorial. And we're going to do the same with the two empty groups that were created. Excuse me. Hunter 2440, what you building? We're just doing a basic weight tutorial today. We're going to be moving on later to real terrain data. Alright, so now we're almost ready to go into Giants Editor with this. So we're going to select everything in the scenograph, move over to Giants, and bring up the Giants exporter. We're going to hit Tools, and have you noticed it's deselected stuff? So we just reselect freeze to pivot. It's very important that it freeze to the pivot. And we're going to change this to workspace root. Go to i3D file, and I'm just going to call it white. Set. And we're just going to hit export all. And did it? Yep. Alright, so we're going to save our file, and we're going to open this, which, as you can see, is our weight. So when you come in Giants Editor, if I bring the scene over, you see everything's named exactly the same. So weight tutorial, we want rigid body, dynamic, collision, and I think we might need compound, because we may or may not need that, but we'll just tick it, and we're going to go to shape and renderable. So basically this is the invisible collision for the weight model. Now we're going to move down to the main viz, and we're going to untick rigid body. You do not want rigid body on any parts inside of this unless it's a kinematic part. And then we've got the bottom hitch, which is an empty transform group, and we're going to have to rotate this 90 degrees so this red arrow points towards this hitch. So sorry, let me get that again. So we're going to rotate this one, which is rotate Y 90, and the top reference, I just usually do the same here. So in Y, I'm going to punch 90, and I'm going to hit save. Okay, so that's that done. Now I'm going to close out of here, and I'm going to copy these to a different folder. So I'm going to copy those, and let me find where I've got this other folder, which should be WT Ingaming, which I've just got some basic files that I'll be going over in a second. And I also need to copy the textures, so if I go back to textures, just copy these two, that's all we need. Let me find it again. Desktop, WT, textures, and I've already got the dirt stuff prepared for when we come to making a mod washable. Alright, so in this folder, we're going to open the weight, and you see everything's still the same mod. I just moved it over, and I'm going to open this Maxwell, because I just took this from the Maxwell. So the vehicle type is an implement, and Maxwell counterweight. We're going to change this to weight twitch, or I'll just actually call it weight tutorial. And I'm going to put this also here, and the type description is a weight, and we need the i3D name, which is just weight. So here we're going to put weight.i3d. Now the size and the width we can get from here. If you create primitive cube, so you see a 1 meter cube gives it some overlap, which is very good. You actually need some overlap because the size and the width is the amount of space it takes at the store. So we're going to go 1.0, 1.0. Now, I'm just going to comment out the washable, because we're not making it washable straight away. I'm going to be doing that afterwards. We're just going to make it work as a basic weight. Now we see input attacher joints. The attacher joint index, sorry, is the bottom hitch, as I've got it called. It sits at 0, 1. So here we're going to go 0, 1, and you see it's an implement, and the top reference node, which if we go back here, is going to be 0, 2. Now, the rotate limit scales, translation limit scales, you can play with these numbers if you want to limit the rotation of the mod when you connect it. Now the upper rotation offset, I've got an offset of 3 degrees here. Now there is no lower rotation. And a lower distance to the ground and upper distance to the ground, again, we might have to come back to tweak these numbers to find out the best numbers that we need. Needs lowering. No, it doesn't have to be lowered, so we set false. Needs lowering is for like seeders and stuff like that. You know, you could turn it on, but it's not going to seed until it lowers. So if it was a seeder or a cultivator, you put true. So the components count, we only have one component, which is this. It's just one component. And we want to go back in the notepad, and we see the center of mass value. That's over iteration count. So the center of mass, we can go rigid body, and you see our mass isn't very good right now, so I'm going to alter that. I'm going to put 2, save, reload. You have to reload when you're doing the mass. So now we've got a 850 kilo weight, and the center of mass, you can copy this value, and this is always a good place to start with the center of mass. And the scheme file is always going to be the same. You don't need to edit that. So I'm going to save and close out of that one. Bring up this folder, rename this weight.xml. Now we're going to open the mod desk, and I should have really kept the other one on. We'll copy this so the names are the same. Weight tutorial. The description's just going to be weight tutorial. So the store file I'm not going to change. I'm just going to leave that default. You should understand that if you want a different file, you just have to edit the store file, which I have here. You just open that with Photoshop. Same with the brand. I'm not going to change the brand either. So the brand's going to stay as Maxwell. What we do need to change is this XML file name, as soon as we renamed it. So this is going to be weight.xml. I'm just going to hit save. Okay. Now we're going to hit save. Alright, so let's see if this works. So if we edit this with Notepad, you see that the textures are alright. And I'm going to put it in my mod folder. So give me a second. Let me just get to my desktop, which is here. Copy that here. And open again. this one. We're just gonna go on this save game. The first thing to do is check the log, see if you got any errors. And you see, only zip mods are supported in, you need to zip the WT underscore Ingaming to use it in multiplayer. That's not an error, that's just because I've got it in is it actually capturing my game? Let's have a look. Oh, sorry about that, 1 second. So if I go over here, click FS15. Alright. So now we've got it capturing the game. Yeah, it should come through now. I just fixed it. And we're gonna just go to the store. Let's see. Now it's working, so I'm gonna go purchase mods and we're gonna just go brand and write tutorial. Hit buy. You can fetch your purchase at the store. Okay? As you see. Here's the weight that we made. It doesn't look too nice, but we'll buy a tractor. We'll see if we can get it to connect. Why is my computer just like zooming out? I don't have no controls. It's got auto zooms. Yep. Whatever. I'll just do it on the inside view, I'll figure that out later. I think my controller might be switched on. Which makes this... Ah, okay, so you see we have a problem where the hitch is too low for that tractor. Try... Shouldn't actually cause that much of a problem. Why is it not connecting? Alright, let's go in dev mode and find out, because you can see it should be able to pick that up. So let's have a look. See if we can see the problem here. Did we save it when we rotated the things around? I don't think so. So I'm just going to save the game. I'm going to jump out and put monitor capture back on OBS. And we're going to open wait. And we're just going to check if we put the rotation right. If it doesn't connect, it's usually a rotation problem. And I think this wants to point towards the tractor. But we can find out. I will just go be a second. Let's get the Maxwell weight. Let that open up. Yeah, so you see the attacher is rotated round. Should point away. And why have I got like 10 of these open? So we're gonna go back here, but negative here. Save. Close. So yeah, now that should work. So I'm gonna just go back in here. Copy this back to this folder. Give you some game capture. Join this save game. Tab to that tractor that we bought. Wait for the preheat to finish. And now you see we get the attach at the top. So if it doesn't attach the first time, check the attacher group.